All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am Rivka Beth Meadow, and tonight's film club is presented through a collab between two organizations devoted to protecting, amplifying, and celebrating queer women's stories. Curve Foundation is the only national nonprofit dedicated to preserving the history, advancing the visibility, and championing the futures of LGBTQ plus women and non-binary people. Through storytelling, leadership development, and community building, Curve connects generations and ensures our stories are never lost. They have an incredible archive. Check it out. Frankly Speaking Films is my company with Jen Rainan, and we are a women-led documentary production company and impact studio, creating bold, joyful, and socially resonant films that shift culture and expand who gets to be seen. Our work lives at the intersection of artistry, advocacy, and imagination. Together, Curve Foundation and Frankly Speaking Films know that stories are not just entertainment, they are our inheritance, resistance, and possibility. Welcome to Film Club. And before we dive in, I just have a couple housekeeping notes. First, you probably noticed the film or the event is being recorded for our archive. And we have closed captions available, which you can turn on using the Zoom taskbar below. We'll have a brief Q&A portion at the end of this program. So just click the Q&A button on your Zoom screen, enter your questions. You can put questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you and you can ask your own question. We'll also share a feedback form at the end. We love to hear from our community. We want to hear what you think about your interests, what you think about this event, and please share your thoughts if you have a moment. Okay, so tonight the conversation will be held by an extraordinary filmmaker, Texas filmmaker Chelsea Hernandez. At the heart of Chelsea's storytelling are themes of community, representation, and social justice. Chelsea is a national Emmy-nominated director for her first feature documentary, Building the American Dream, which premiered at South by and broadcast on PBS. Her second feature doc, Breaking the News, premiered at Tribeca and also broadcast on PBS. It's so good. If you know the 19th, it's about that. And just really check it out. She's an 8-time Lone Star Emmy-winning director, producer, and editor, a Warner Media 150 artist, and a fellow of Firelight Media Doc Lab, Tribeca All Access, Bayvac National Media Maker, Gotham Week, and NALIP Latino Media Market. She founded Tejanas in Film, a collective aimed at uplifting the voices of Latin filmmakers in Texas. And Chelsea will be in conversation with Hummingbirds filmmakers Chiva Galindo and Jillian Schlesinger. Chiva is an independent filmmaker, activist, and transit planner for the city of Boston. Born and raised in Laredo, Texas, Chiva's first film, Hummingbirds, won the Grand Prize for Best Feature Film at the Berlinale Generation and was the opening night film at True False in 2023. They've been honored with fellowships from Firelight Media, Bayvac Media Makers, CIFF and LEF, Doc Society, and NBCU Original Voices. And they're currently working on their second film with support from Film Fatale and Sundance. Jillian is an independent doc maker whose work accompanies emerging visionaries on collaborative filmmaking adventures. She produced, edited, and co-directed Hummingbirds, which premiered on PBS and can be found on the Criterion channel now. Her first film, Maiden Trip, won audience awards at South by Southwest and CIFF and was released globally by First Run Features. Jillian's a Sundance Producers Fellow, Doc NYC 40 Under 40, and her work has been featured in The New Yorker, The Guardian, and on AJ+. So let's watch the trailer for this lovely film, and afterwards we'll get right into the conversation. So if everyone can just turn off your video, and we'll let the trailer play smoothly. Thank you.
Make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. No, but for reals. I like to believe that I'm an astronaut in another world. An alien to the aliens. Hola! ¿Cómo están? Ah, they said hola! Hola! We're breathing the same air from another country. Somebody's fart. Somebody's Mexican fart. Are you cute?
Do you want to go on a date?
Do you have a green card? I need one. Come save us. Just stand straight, but look that way. To the sky, like if you have dreams and goals and stuff.
Are you ready for your future?
Okay, sure.
This card shows why it is so important to cherish the blissful moments in your life and make the most of them while they are within reach, because in a flash they could be gone.
The world's ending anyway. I wanted to ask about the status of my visa to travel and to work. I wish there was something we could do. Do I have rights now? Lo bueno y lo malo. I miss it all. You will come back, right?
I love this film. Okay, so I'm going to hand it off to Chelsea and Chiva, and we'll get right into this conversation. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Rivka, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm honored to be here in conversation with you, Chiva and Jillian. I'm not sure if she's here yet, but um, I love this movie so much, and I love a good fart joke as well. I'm so glad that was in the trailer. It's lovely. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Please think of your questions as we're talking. I'll ask them, but as Rivka mentioned, we'll open it up to everybody. As much as I want to talk and ask all the questions, I want to hear what other people have to say and give people a chance to be in conversation as well. But yeah, Chiva, let's just kind of start off. You know, I know that this film was made very differently, or at least went against the kind of standard norms of how documentary films are made. And myself being a documentary filmmaker, I've seen these like traditional ways and how they can kind of divide, and so I'm just so inspired by the way you all made this, kind of centering lived experience and mentorship, and just challenging, you know, the process of the traditional process of making documentary film, and giving you and Beba, you know, autonomy over your story, which I think is so important. Can you talk a little bit about why you did that, and kind of like what was it like to have a team around you also kind of support that way of making a film?
Yeah, wow, what a good question to start us off with. Um, yeah, so it started off originally, well, I guess like maybe why don't we start off with like how the movie even got started in the first place? So, um, I originally, when I was really young and very impressionable, I joined the film club in my high school, mostly because I'm going to be so honest. At the time, there was somebody who I really, really had like a big crush on, who was like super into movies. And like, so it goes, I was like, oh, I'm my little crush. is super into movies, so I'm gonna join the film club. I'm gonna make a movie. And so yeah, that's what I started doing. I started making like short films, and I made a short film about like my crush on this person, like how I like really like loved this person. It was a poem called Oceans, and in the poem it's like depicted like a queer relationship, me and like this other person, and we're like being young and in love, and like I'm reading this poem and it's like all of my favorite places. And honestly, I feel like if people watch Oceans, that is like the prequel to Hummingbirds in a way. Like I'm basically showing you all my favorite places in the city to be in like relationship with, right? Because I think that's like another part of like another secret part of the movie is that Laredo is like a part of the story. And so yeah, I made this short film, and it got put into a small film festival that my hometown holds. It's like the Laredo International Film Festival. And I got put in this like, in like all film festivals, I got put in the short film fiction category. And I was not allowed to go to the film festival. I had bad grades in school. So no, they were like, you can't go. You are failing calculus. You have to like,
No.
it was during the school day and they were like, absolutely not. You have to stay. And I was like, okay, that's like hater behavior, but sure. And so I didn't get to go to the film festival. And Jillian, our co-director, our producer, was at this film festival. So Jillian usually likes to tell this part of the story, but I'll give you a quick synopsis, which is that Jillian was in my hometown, kind of like going around. I know not letting me go to my own premiere was wicked, but like I was like, whatever. But what's it called? Jillian was, in Laredo, kind of also seeking to do a project through students who do art. And so she was working with this school that I used to go to. It's an arts magnet. I know I didn't go to it at the time when Jillian was there because I was kicked out. I was a bad kid, guys. But anyways, by chance, Jillian was at this film festival, saw my short film, and I got third place out of 5 films. But Jillian, I got first place in Jillian's heart. So she sends me a message on Facebook and is like, I watched your short film and, I really, really love the work that you created. And I would love to do like a collaborative like piece with you. And so I tell my mom about it. I'm like, Mom, this like woman from New York is like wants to meet me now. And my mom is like, you better not go to that. That woman is like lying to you. She's scamming you. And I was like, yeah, you're so right. You're so right. And so then I was like, yeah, why don't we meet up at a very well lit and public place? And so I met Jillian. She did not scam me. I have both of my kidneys right now. And it was wonderful. It was like, I don't know, it was like the best day of my life when I met her too, because it's like, I'm sure a lot of people here are artists, and it's like when you collab with someone for the first time and it's like the best collaboration ever. You're like, this is it. This is the thing. So I met Jillian for like lunch or dinner. I don't remember. And I told her, I was like, I'm not even that much into film. I'm just doing it because I have a crush on somebody. But like, if you think we should do something, why not? Like I collab with my friends all the time. And I was like, actually, me and my friends are going to go play kickball. And, you seem to have like these really cool, like, cameras. I've never seen like a camera this like cool before. Like I filmed like on a shitty little Canon. You got like this whole setup, so why don't we go play at the park and you can show us the cameras and stuff. And so it was like a perfect like first date. We filmed all night. I had just met her. We filmed all night. And the reason we had to stop filming was not because it was late, because we were filming up until 5 a.m. But because everything ran out of battery, all the storage was full. like everything. So we had to stop filming at some point. And um, yeah, after
Dedication
I
to
know.
your story. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so I mean, that's incredible. Also, I love that no matter how big or small a film festival is, like people go and meet and like network there, and it's like so amazing to hear that that's how Jillian like saw you with your film at the Laredo International Film Festival. Is like really an incredible story to hear. I wish you were there, yes, at your premiere. But and how, like, what was that collaboration like then when you went off and then started making this film together?
It was really good. I think like genuinely it was I think Jillian and I like clicked in a way. It was Jillian, Beba, and I really just I mean Beba is my best friend and was my best friend already, so it didn't really need to click with her. But like Jillian was able to click with us in a way that was just like this eternal friendship. She's still my friend. We still hang out, we still collaborate. And I think like that was like the forefront of like the collaboration. So when we started, it was like a very small, intimate team. Like it was Jillian, Miguel, um, me, and Beba, and then like we were able to add more people, which we added like Diane and Anna. And so then we had like this really small group of like 6 people for like the filming of the movie. And so, and like genuinely, all we would do is like kind of like lounge around and like, what do we do? And like, it's so hot and like eating snacks and like, kind of just like going with the flow. And like, there was, and again, I think at this point, we thought we had so much time because we didn't know, right, that there was going to be a pandemic that would like come upon us. And so it really, like I think we have something very special in that film that I think a lot of documentaries don't get, which is that I feel like the film was filmed with a lot of like unknowing what's going to happen and like not having like the entire picture of like what are we doing and all of these things. And so I think um I don't know, it was just very special. And so from like that smaller group from filming, then when unfortunately the pandemic started and all of these things, like we kind of had to like figure out more like how to do things from there. And that's when like the group kind of got a little bigger. And we had more hands for like editing, and we had like first time filmmakers who were editing team, and like kind of, and like it was like a strange editing team because it's not like people who have editors, like I think typically like the way I hear about people's relationships with editors is like a little far away, but it felt like these were like girls I maybe went to high school with or something. And so it was just like, it was cool, it was cute. And Jillian's here, and so
Hi, Jillian.
I'll let
Hi everyone. I am late.
Yeah, it's great to hear the collaboration, and that sort of trust was kind of the foundation of the film at the very beginning, because I think there's just so much like it's just so genuine. Like everything I'm watching, I'm not like thinking, oh, this was a choice the director made, because it's like you're the director and you all are all working together on this, and everything just like felt real, which is such a beautiful, I mean, it's a beautiful portrait of Laredo and a border town. And it makes me, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I do want to move on to kind of a next question is about, you ultimately, it's a story at the border, and we know that the border has been used by politicians to demonize immigrants and to kind of sensationalize what's happening at the border, and kind of paint this picture that it's a violent community and no one should go there, but in reality that is not the entire story of border towns and Texas in general. I think too, myself living here and from Texas, but you really showed a full picture of experience, a lived experience in a town, a very complex story of emotions and culture and imagination and dreams, which is so beautiful. And I'm wondering, um, what were some of the ways you all like spoke about when you were making the film about like how you can tell this story to kind of like resist those dominant stories that the media portrays of the border?
You know, I like don't know if we even had like that conversation to that like level at the beginning. I maybe I'm wrong. At least I don't remember having that like large conversation of like the border is demonized and we want to show that it shouldn't. I think we like kind of felt like we that's what we wanted to do, but just didn't know that that's what we wanted to do. Um, but I feel like I don't know. I think it was just it wasn't like it was a choice. I think it was just like that's just how we live. You know what I mean? Like there's no like in I went to the lesbian club in Boston recently. I told this girl I was like talking to, I was like, "Oh yeah, I grew up in Texas." And she was like, "Whoa, like being queer in Texas, that must have been like a thing." And I was like, "I had a queer club that we would let me in. I had a full queer club that would just let me in. I don't know. Like I know people want to like see this area as like dangerous and all of these things and like something must have happened to you like this thing and it's like not to invalidate people's like lived experiences. Again like it things do happen and like I think when I think about things that have happened, I think about like American imperialism and like the way like the US has failed us in many, many ways and not really like I don't ever think of my own people and think, oh, like they're the ones who like if anything, like yeah, like again, I had a queer club that would just let me in. I just had to pay extra. The worst thing that my people would do is like gouge me to go into the gay club. Like
Jillian, did you have any thoughts about it as you were making it also, or did it come after the fact in the edit room, perhaps?
I think everything that Chiva's saying really resonates with me. I feel like it's something that arose more in like the discourse around the film and actually had like very little to do with our experience making it because I think we were just sort of like making something um true to Chiva and to Estefania and that like and Jeffrey and that resonated with everyone who is working on the film. Um and so I think that that came for us like more in how the film was received. And I think, I don't know if Chiva mentioned, like, we met through an arts program that they were involved with in high school. And it was just like there was so much sort of like vibrant and exciting creation happening and very little sort of like platform for it. So I think like our goal in the collaboration was just to sort of like try to get their voices out beyond Laredo because there's just so much like exciting creativity happening in Laredo and so that's sort of like what it emerged from and it's great that it's been received as sort of like a different experience or point of view or just like portrayal of the border experience.
Yeah, that's fantastic. When we spoke a little bit before, as we were preparing for this panel, Chiva, you had mentioned that it wasn't necessarily in the film, but at the time of making the film, there was a moment where ICE was raiding people's homes. And watching the film, it had been a while since I watched Hummingbirds, I think when it first came out. And so watching it this year, you know, brought made me think a lot more differently about things and the issues presented in the film, or the political topics that are kind of mentioned throughout: reproductive rights, immigrant rights, um, and I know chose like you all chose not to include, ice raids, in the film. But despite not showcasing them in the film, but it was happening. Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of, what is happening today and what you saw then and experienced, you and Beba, while making this film, and what your communities like also experienced during the making of the film, and even prior to that, this has been going on for a long time. So would love to, kind of get your thoughts on that topic.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't something that we like fully showcase. I think it's like in whispers almost. Like I think about like the conversation that I have with like my mom on the phone, or like even just like talking about Beba's status, or like, things that are like kind of like going on in the background. Like um I think it's just I think what struggle with right now, I think that's maybe the best way to start this, is that I think a lot of people are seeing it now, but they did not see it back then. And I think that is very difficult for me, like my lived experience, especially because, like, when I was a teenager, I would like dream about being like saved from that like reality, and I would think about how people do, like, I would think about it and I'd be like, wow, like, what's not on the news, like what's happening to me right now. And that sucks. Like, it sucks that it's not on the news. And I think when we were filming, it wasn't that we chose to like hide it, because we weren't hiding it, it was very clear. um but I think it was just that it was hard because it was when people thought about us, people thought about like violence, and like thought about like militarization, and like it almost felt like, I don't know, it almost felt like we had like, I feel like if we showed it to them, it would have given them the reason to be like, see, that's why you need it. And that's like, you know what I mean? I think that's very difficult, because I've had conversations at film festivals. Like, I've had people come up to me, and like, I know they're not being insensitive on purpose. They just don't know it's propaganda. They're uneducated, whatever. And it is a privilege to be somebody who knows and understands. And at the end of the day, like, maybe this is a weird way to put it, but I think I'm much more privileged than a lot of people who do have privilege, because I have empathy and I have understanding. And I think that's something that they will never have. And it's unfortunate. And I get to speak a second language, and I get to be like interesting and from a different place, and so educated. So I think like, but people do come up to me and they're like, yeah, like, and I saw this movie, I thought you were going to show me all these like dangerous things, and like all of these, like, I thought somebody was going to hate crime you, I thought like the cops were going to show up, or this was going to happen. And it's like, girl, you thought wrong. That's just what it is. You thought wrong. Yeah, and like, why is it that my suffering has to be like this, what you need, so that way you can validate me? Why can you not see me as a human? Why can you not see, like, it is difficult for them to see you as human, as whole, as someone who has interests and care, and like, this is my best friend, and this is what we do, and this is our little hangout spot. And so I think it was just important for us to be like, yeah, like, we're more than just what you make us out to be. We're not these, like, either you think of me as this poor immigrant child, or you think of me as someone who deserves it. And I am neither of those things. I'm actually a shitty teenager who's going to go smoke weed outside of the skate park and go into a club I'm not supposed to be going into and sneak out of my house. Like, that is actually who I am. And so, I don't know. I think it's like, I think right now when I'm seeing people talk about it, especially like white people, privileged people, and they're like, look at all this, look at all this. I'm like, girl, look at it. Look at this. This has been happening, and this has been happening to people for a long time. And I feel like the narrative, I hate this narrative of like, oh, like they're like first US citizen to be, killed by ICE. That's not true. That's not true. I have had friends and loved ones, and I have like had my friends' family who have just been victims of this. And so I think it's It is a difficult one right now. I think I'm feeling a little like I'm like you guys, it's like we've been telling you and now you're seeing it, and it's not too late, but like look at all these people who are now suffering. And we've been telling you, we've been trying to tell you so you can protect yourselves too. And so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the joy, the focus on joy throughout was just really uh, just incredible, and just a breath of fresh air too, to see a story in Texas with like so much joy as well. And like it also made me very hungry. I wanted a raspa like so bad. Like, after watching that, I might still go get one tonight. Anyways, but like all those moments, with these moments of, you know, political activism, also, you know, seeing you, you and Beba, you know, break in, well, trespass, but also do it for, you know, politics and against the system, and like seeing all those were like really wonderful moments. And I think you had mentioned this in our call too, this kind of like joyful militancy, you know, of like knowing all these things are going on, but I still have a party to go to on Saturday, you know. How does joy function for you as a radical act or a militant act?
I think I have a friend who like is really radical, like they're really out there, but they went to we met up at a protest um against ICE, and then they were like, "Am I still seeing you at Thong Fest later?" Yeah, girl. Yeah, you are. Like, yeah, you are seeing me at Thong Fest after this. I won't be too tired. No, I'm gonna take a nap and I'm gonna rally. That is how I think that is how it manifests. I think it's very queer to, you know, that's what it's all about. It's like when people were doing Stonewall, they were beautiful. You know, like I think it's just what it is. It's like I think the way it manifests is just like there are there are horrendous things that are happening right now, and that is the truth, and that is not something that you can ever deny. And we will cry and we will be upset, and like, you know, things have happened, especially as of lately, to like my loved ones and family through like this situation. And like it was really hard. I took like a whole week where I was like crying on and off and like feeling really intense. And then I had to, and then I also made plans before this happened. Like I was like, oh shit, I have a trip to New York and I've been crying for a week. And what am I going to do? I'm going to cancel my tickets? No, I'm broke. I have to use those. And so, yeah, I think it's just, you have to, at the same time, like you have to live for joy. You have to like, because otherwise, like, what are we doing? Right. Um, and it's like, yeah, like everything is radical. Everything we do is political in art and music. But yeah, I think it just like it happens. It's not even like on purpose. It's not like I'm like, today I'm going to be so radical and joyful. It's just like one night I'm at the protest, and then I also see the guy who DJs at Danny's. And I'm like, hey, you're the guy who DJs at Danny's. I love that you're here right now. So
Yeah, I mean, that's how community's made too, you know, when people come
yeah.
together, you know, seeing people in both those spaces, I think is really important. I'm gonna ask one more question and then open it up to the audience. But you know, I love that you all met like from a film festival, or seeing like a piece that you made, like an artistic, you know, piece, because art is clearly you know, this expression for you to, or just kind of this vessel to get through life. And you see that so much in this film with, you know, the music making, the poetry, the voiceovers also. It's also shot really beautifully, edited so well. Like it's an art piece in itself. And so I'm wondering, like from both of y'all, I'd love to hear of like how you all kind of weave politics in your own art and expression and the world to kind of like help you reclaim your own like narrative control. Jillian or Chiva? Who wants to
Dylan,
go?
can I let you start this one? I've
Sure.
been yapping.
Yeah, it's such a good question. For me, I think it really connects back to that idea of joy and laughter, and also like creating space for kind of like uh maybe radical is not the only word, but really um kind of like counter normative points of view. I think I'm really drawn to, yeah, just like outsider perspectives or different ways of moving through the world and influencing the world around you, and just choosing not to sort of like follow the beaten path and what that can look like, and particularly I think like what that looks like among younger people. I think that yeah, younger people who are sort of marching to the beat of their own drum have a lot to teach us. I think that was true of like everyone who worked on Hummingbirds, this feeling of like when you're young and you haven't you know followed the rules, and you haven't like yet had sort of like the rhythm of life um uh dictate, I think, a more conformist path. Like you're able to really innovate because there's no sense of like how things should be done. I also think that's like a very queer ethos of just like, finding your own way, inventing things like community and family, and like pushing back against norms across like a lot of different areas of life and culture. And so I literally forgot the question. um what were we talking about? Oh yeah, oh right, how politics and art. And so for me, that's it. It's sort of like the I think the perspectives of those people sort of like mixed with humor and adventurous spirit, and sort of like, bucking all the rules, for me are like a recipe for it's sort of like sneaky politics, because it's not um overtly political with like a capital P, but to me, in a way, it's like more political, or at least it's like the work that interests me in terms of like shaping perspectives, and like reaching hearts and not minds. And yeah, that's sort of like where I'm coming from. I'm curious what Chiva has to say about this.
I think that was like beautifully said. And I think I'm like in the same way. I mean, like you can't escape it. What it is, everything is political. And I think like, um, the term, I have to out myself. The term joyful militancy is not something I made up. It is a book. Um, and everyone should read it. It is a book I read all the time. I read it once a year. And it's kind of like my diary. Like if I wish I could send you guys a picture of the book right now, but it's like if you open it, it's just a bunch of like 2024. This is what I felt about this line that was written. And now it's 2026, and this is how I feel about the line that was written now and about the comment I made in 2024. And so it's just like it talks about how to basically be an organizer in a time in which people are like, we're talking about how to be forgiving and how to be like how to correct people and how to basically be in relationship with other people. And I think that's like the biggest basis for me, which is that it's not that there's politics in my art, is that it's just everything. And my relationships are political. Like this movie that Jillian and I made is political. And it's like not even that we were like, oh, we're gonna make the most political film. It was just like we're making a movie and that's just what it is. And like you know, that's just my reality. And so I think, you know, people should read that book. I don't know how else to describe it. Please read the book.
Someone asked, what can you say? Do you remember what the title's called or who
It's
the
called
writer was?
Joyful Militancy. I'm gonna write it down. Full Militancy. And I know it's by a person named Nick. I don't know their last name. And Carla. I think her last name is Bergman.
Cool.
And it's a
Okay,
really great book.
that's lovely. That's so great. Well, I do want to open it up to the audience. So if you have a question you'd like to ask Chiva and Jillian, please go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
I wanted to ask what's happening with this film in the future? That's the first one. What's next for each of you? And do either of you have a huge like passion project brewing, burbling, growing inside? And how can we support that? And what do we do about that? What do you need? What do you need in help or support to make that happen? That was three, sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Well, Hummingbirds is gonna be showing at an exhibition in Boston, in Harvard, and so that's exciting. They're gonna be. The exhibition is called Miren por mi ventana, which just means like looking through my window, and it talks about Latinidad, especially in reference to like being people who are living in Boston now, and so Hummingbirds will be playing from a window. It's gonna be cool. Um, and then I'm also doing a like an interactive piece, and it's called El Tendedero, which just means like the how do you say that in English? Does anybody know English here?
10?
Entendedero?
El Tendedero, like you put like your clothes on it. Clothes hanger.
Closer hanger. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But like the ones outside where you put your clothes to dry.
Or line.
Um, So that's what it's going to be. And it's going to have zines for people to write in them. A clothesline. Yes. I'm making a clothesline. And then I'm going to be making zines in the shape of clothing. And the clothing is going to be like basically like asking like what recipes like your family made for you growing up and stuff like that. And so that's really exciting. Jill?
Yeah, I feel like this is actually really funny because I feel like a week or two ago, someone was like, "Oh, I really wanted to watch Hummingbirds, but I couldn't find it anywhere." And then I just like mentioned the places I knew it was. And then um oh yeah, and then I was like randomly, I don't know, doing something else and I just like came across whatever thing on Google like shows you all the places something is, and I was like, I didn't even realize how many. It's like very, very accessible. So I feel like if you Google like Hummingbirds documentary, although there are other documentaries like called or about hummingbirds, but but I feel like if you, I don't know, Google like Hummingbirds documentary Laredo, it's playing like it's streaming an amazing number of places online, if you want to like tell people about it. And then um yeah, we do kind of screenings like this every bit or so. And I don't know. Yeah, we're always like really down for scheduling community screenings. So if anyone hears of anyone who's interested in showing it, and like it's been really wonderful getting like requests from community organizations that do a lot of work around like protecting immigrants and ICE raids and stuff like that. And so, and just like what the film has meant to people in this moment. So that's been really beautiful. And then um yeah, for me it's like I don't know what the next passion project is. I feel like these things sort of like it's never something that I'm like looking for exactly, but it's always something that I'm open to. And so yeah, I mean for me it's a little bit like falling in love or something. Like you just it's like you know it when it happens and then you like put everything into it kind of. But yeah, I'm curious what it'll be. I don't know. And I'm so excited about everything that Chiva's working on.
Yeah. Jen also said she'd love to screen it during her festival, the Gilbert Baker Film Festival this year. That'd be great. Tracy also asked, how do we get in contact with you doing a show for a nonprofit for visibility?
You could email us, you could text us on Instagram, you could find my phone number from Rivka. That might be the best bet if you text me. This is my phone though. I have a flip phone right now. That's where I'm at. So
I almost bought a landline today. I was thinking about getting, yeah.
wait, that would be so cool. I'm watching Sex in the City right now, and I just like the way Carrie comes home to play the messaging machine. I need it. I need it.
There was another question from the audience. What did each of you learn while making Hummingbirds? Like what surprised you? Who wants to go first? Chiva?
What did I learn? I learned a lot of things. Jillian watched me grow up, and Jillian was an adult the whole time. To me, I was like, wow. But I don't know. My brain fully formed making this movie. I was really young. I feel like I learned everything. I can't even pinpoint the one thing. Like I learned a lot of things in life, like how to have lifelong friends and I guess how to make a movie. um, how to, I think like the coolest thing that I've learned, it's not the best thing because the best thing I've learned have been like very important life lessons. But the coolest thing I have is that I'm media trained. Um, so that I think genuinely, I recommend it to anyone who's making a movie. Make a budget for media training. That was like maybe the coolest thing ever because now I'm unstoppable. Put me anywhere. I can talk. Like, that's it. It's too late. Y'all gave me that power. Can't take it back.
What about you, Jillian? Was there something that surprised you in the making of this that you
Oh
learned?
my gosh, what surprised me? What did I learn? What a good question. I think, I don't know. I mean, I've, I feel like, I'm just sort of like perpetually amazed by like the trajectory of the film and like what it's meant to people. And just getting those reactions. I think like for me, that is sort of like the first time that I worked on a film, I was like, never doing this again. Way, way too hard. And then like someone came up to me after like one of the first screenings or something and was like, this film like inspired me to like quit my job and change my life. And then I was like, oh, I should probably like do this more. um and with Hummingbirds, like the reactions have been even more meaningful, like hearing from people who have said, like I've never seen a movie that like represented my experiences or my like queer friendships or the joy I feel in like difficult circumstances, dealing with like a lot of heavy stuff. And I don't know that those are like surprises, but just kind of, yeah, the power of like seeing things represented in a movie or in any media that like you're not used to seeing. It's like that it's really, yeah, that I think just like the profound power of that is like never lost on me. And I think, yeah, this project definitely like expanded my experience of that a lot. And I hope like people continue to discover it and like share it, and that it definitely has like a little film that could quality. And I guess like, yeah, I think a learning along with that is that like when you make something with a lot of love and a lot of heart, like it finds its place because it's true, you know, like it's gonna connect with people. And I think it was such a long haul. I mean, so many documentaries and labors of love are like, we started it in well, I think we first met in 2018, and it, you know, kind of emerged into the world like 2023, 2024, and this kind of like continues to emerge. So it's really, you know, it's a significant chunk of Chiva's life. It's a pretty significant chunk of mine. And it's really fun to look back on. And like Rivka was such a huge part of that process from really early on as well, and like saw the project through so many ups and downs and questions and, you know, points where like it didn't really even seem conceivable that we would ever get to where we are now. And so yeah, it's, I think I learned that like anything is possible. um but yeah, so that's my takeaway.
Throwing it at Rivka, because someone had asked this also. For people who don't know, Rivka also was a producer on this film. I think Jen was asking what was unique and special about it for you from your perspective.
I'll just make a really quick answer. I think like the anti-hierarchical way that this film was made was so different from the way a lot of films get made. And I was really interested in supporting something that was doing something so logical, but so radical, like letting the main protagonists have agency to tell their own story and have a whole crew of experienced filmmakers in support of that. Like it makes total sense, but yet it almost never happens even now. So just being able to like play a support role and help be behind the scenes and help, you know, support this film coming into the world, like, you know, instantly I was like, oh, this is a future model that I want to be part of helping to make. And it takes a little longer and there's a lot of growth involved for everyone. You know, I grew a lot and I watched everyone around me, part of the team, just really come together with a film that I think no one could have imagined making at the very beginning. So that's like phenomenal. We're getting close to finishing. Are there any other
I think
burning?
Natalie had a question.
Yeah. Okay, you want to do Natalie's? Great.
Yeah, Natalie, do you want to ask it?
Thanks. Yeah, it's more a general question for all of you amazing filmmakers, and thank you for sharing your stories and sweat, blood, tears. I'm wondering, given the state of the industry and what's changing and how much is changing so fast, what each of you is really excited about in terms of what's coming up. It can be a project or just something you heard is coming up, and what's keeping you up at night, something that you're just like racking your brain about. It doesn't have to be negative, it can be exciting too. Thanks.
I like this question. This is a good question. Given the state of the film industry, I'm working on other multimedia arts right now. And so I've gotten into a lot of painting. I'm also applying a lot of my poetry into publications right now. And so I'm trying to be a more like, I don't know. I guess I don't actually know the word for it, but like a more multimedia professional. Is that the correct term? I don't know. But um, yeah, I mean, thankfully this film has gotten me really far. Um, and so yeah, right now I'm working on that exhibition. I'm hoping to apply to more exhibitions with like poetry and art and stuff. Things that keep me up at night. Um, you know, a lot of things keep me up at night. Um, as of lately, what's been keeping me up at night? I really feel like maybe a personal thing, but I want to move to New York. It's time. It's time. So if anybody has any recommendations for like jobs in like, I don't know, art handling or just like strange jobs that require the yap. I'm really good at community liaisoning. I'm an urban planner, in case people didn't know that. Also, that's like my day job. My day job is that I'm an urban planner. So if anybody knows any places, let me know. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's awesome. I'll shoot some stuff your way. What about you, Jillian?
That's a really good question. One project that I've been working on that I was just sort of like helping, and now I'm a producer on it, is about it's kind of like it's about activists in Hong Kong and like finding sort of creative ways to tell stories under authoritarianism. So that both it was really exciting me, sort of like, again, sort of like sneaky politics, like yeah, finding sort of like creative pathways for self-expression and like claiming narratives, even when, you know, those things are like punishable with like insane sentences. And then also like deeply keeping me up at night, same stuff, sort of like I think the intersection of like democracy um and like climate stuff is something that keeps me up a lot. And yeah, that project doesn't really have anything like directly to do with climate issues, but yeah, I think those are like very much on my mind in sort of like micro and macro ways. Yeah, and both in terms of like very like doomsday perspective, but also sort of like a lot of people working really hard in both of those areas and in their intersection, and that gives me a lot of hope as well.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. This was really lovely to be in conversation with you both. I'll pass it over to Rivka to close out.
Wow, what a great conversation. Thank you all so much for showing up. Thanks to the community for showing up today. Really wonderful to have everyone here. Thanks for your questions. Thank you, Chiva, Jillian, and Chelsea for making this a super real and really engaging edition of Curve Film Club. Everyone who's here, please recommend Hummingbirds to your friends and families and reach out to the team for screenings and to share it with your communities all over the country and the world. They're open to doing that. I'll share some links in the chat for you all to check out. We'd love to hear your feedback about this program to help shape our future programs. And we hope you'll check out what we're doing at Frankly Speaking Films and consider making a donation to support the Curve Foundation, because your donations directly support programs like this one and support LGBTQ plus journalism and stories about our community. We're also thrilled to announce that the Curve Spring Quarterly issue just dropped today. So I'm going to put these links in the chat and let you all get back to your night. Thank you all so much. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.